if you're listening to somebody who's speaking to a senior, you'll never know what the topic is. You'll only say, sir, 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 sir.
So how was Mizoram?
Nathiyal, I remember I used to give a Republic Day speech.
In Mizo?
Crowd was amazing. It's like a full stand-up comedy for them, no? I wrote directly to the SBI chairperson. Ma'am, I am so-and-so IAS XYZ. I need an ATM in Nathiyal. And she replied next day.
This is the positive power an IAS officer can have.
You might be able to write a tweet criticizing the Prime Minister today also. But I'll challenge you to write something challenging the Tahsildar or a Daroga,
Right.
your local inspector. You will see your limit of being an Indian citizen. Interacting with your own government at any level is a humiliating experience. The whole Indian development story is about avoiding Indian state. When you take away the constitution and conscience from what is the role of an executive, it just becomes executing the political will. A lot of critical government decisions are being taken without being challenged or without being contested. Remember once PM Modi gave a statement of radar, and he might have said this in his meeting where the NSA was there, pretty sure PM secretaries are there, cabinet secretary was there, all of them were there. But nobody corrected him. You took a decision, and then to ensure that there is no backlash to it, you just decided to shut down an entire state, right? Pure bureaucratic executive orders were given, 144, 144, 144, everybody in jail. The whole state, this discretionary executive powers to violate fundamental rights of the citizen, that is only increasing. It requires a lot of heroism to do the right thing when it is difficult. We have had in the last 5 years 2 election commissioners resigning and nobody knowing the reason why they did. All these things I felt like, I can't wait till my retirement to, just keep quiet for until 60 and then you say that, okay, all this was bad and this should have happened and that should have happened. It's very important, like if I feel now I should speak out and this is wrong.
The IAS is seen as a dream job by many Indians. Power, prestige, the ability to make a difference. The civil services have it all. In 2012, Kannan Gopinathan cracked the UPSC. But within only a few years, he had resigned from the civil services. On this episode of Adda, Kannan joins us to explain what it was like being a bureaucrat and how life has been after his resignation from the civil services. Hi Kannan, welcome to Scroll.in.
Hi, thank you.
Explain to us what it was cracking the UPSC in 2012 and you took the Union Territory cadre.
Yeah, UT cadre, correct. Yeah, so like you said, it's a dream job, but it was not particularly a dream or anything for me from a childhood. So IAS, it was not like when you grew up. In fact, I wanted to be a scientist.
You wanted to be a scientist?
So I did my engineering. Then, in fact, I was working in Freescale Semiconductors as a VLSI design engineer. And then the year actually I gave the exam, started giving the exam. I had written to IIT Delhi to do a PhD. And the professor there had actually replied saying that you have a good academic background. So I'll be happy to,
take you on,
here. Right. Yeah, and directly as the PhD without doing the MTech, right? So that is when, certain random things happened. So I was working in Freescale Semiconductors, Motorola then.
This was in Noida?
Noida, yeah, it's Noida. And here, actually, where we were staying, this Noida Sector 15, not the 15A, the 15. So
charming place.
Yeah, the 15A was different, 16 was a film city, and then 15 is where we used to stay.
Right.
And there actually you could see there is a drain going in between that 15A and 15. So along the drainage there is a huge slum. And those kids used to come, small kids used to come, do rack picking and asking for something, and you'll find a lot of these kids, ki bhaiya didi, fool le lo, like you'll see in even Atta market and all, if you go, you'll see them. So few of people that
like
I
mostly from around India they must be, right? Like
around
migrant
Delhi.
labor.
Yeah.
Like
from
very,
Bihar.
very poor, very powerless.
Absolutely. So along the drainage that kids were there and they used to come, and I saw that some people are already engaging with them. In fact, I got connected through a friend on Saturdays and Sundays, teaching them like that. Then I also got connected because coming from Kerala, it's not like I had a huge network or anything here. So I joined to start teaching them. And then we realized that once in a week teaching is more like a satisfaction for you rather than contributing anything to them, because every week you restart from A to A, B, C, D only. So then 3 of us decided, no, we'll do it every day. right? We after our office work, we'll come back, we'll teach them, we'll select like 5-10 kids who are really interested, and then we will. We also discuss with the school that if they do good, if they clear the exam, then they should let you in a private school. So we started there on a daily basis, and we did this for a while. And in fact, some of those kids are now fashion designer. One is an accountant, right? Those 5 kids that we selected initially and started, and
That's amazing, right?
Yeah. So now we talk.
So you are still in contact with those kids?
Yeah, I'm still in contact.
From like what?
12 years now.
12 years.
18 years.
18 years.
18 years. 18 years.
Oh, so they must be like middle aged by now. They hardly
I'm not
kids.
that old. Okay. So you make me sound like. Okay, fair enough. Somewhere close. Yeah. They're approaching there.
They're approaching middle age.
Yeah. So
right.
Yeah, we are fag end of the middle age.
Right.
So yeah, no, they have started. In fact, they talk to us and they say, "Hum waise nahi raha bhaiya." Matlab they tell like that, right?
That's amazing.
We used to go teach, and then this 5 kids. Then the NGO actually got established in a big way. Some of others. I moved out, and I wanted to do the same thing in this Adda market. Adda market also, I don't know, Noida, you know this place?
No, I don't.
There is a place where all the malls are there, the huge malls, and there you'll find a lot of kids who come only on weekends, and they will just give you this flower and ask you to buy it, right? And then next week they will go to maybe Gurgaon, or they will go to Ghaziabad, or they keep rotating also. So there, when I wanted. Why I'm saying this very long route is how I got into this civil service system. Then I wrote that I am wanting to do something here. If anybody is in this voluntary network interested to come and join me, and that's where I met my wife. So she joined. Turn, right? Yeah, she joined and she said, I would like to work with you. And then we both started teaching the kids there. Teaching thing was not very successful because the kids were very migratory. But we were successful in getting married. So she's from Haryana, so we got married. And in fact, there is also a little bit of frustration because we are engaging with the kids, but the next week these kids are not there. It's very difficult to teach them on a continuous basis. We try to meet them, go to their families, etc. So the place in the slum where there was a permanent setup, it was much easier, right? But the most frustrating thing was there is a government school 50 meters away from that slum, and these kids were not allowed to study in that school.
Because they were not permanent residents of that area?
No, because they are slum, and the school was for the village. Right? So, and these kids were actually from Bihar, and if we were putting them in the school at that point of time, they would make them do all this, jadu karo, they clean their utensils and stuff like that, and within 3 days they'll come back. So we put them in the school 3-4 times. Before we deciding to actually go into the slum and start teaching them ourselves, we tried to do this, but it didn't work, right? But there, the school got established. Now a lot of kids, I think 300-400 kids have come out of that system and done well. But in the Adda market, we couldn't do. So then actually wife had this idea. She felt like we need to get into the system. We need to get, to make any change.
To make a real impact.
What you said, you can make a difference by getting into the system. So she joined a UPSC coaching class, right? And I was like, okay, now we just got married. Noida only. She just got married, and then suddenly she's now going to coaching class. Then I thought, it's good to spend time with her. Better maybe go to the coaching class only. So more of a dating concept.
Right.
So, but once I went there, I think I took the studying part seriously, and she took the dating part seriously. So the roles changed. So, and then when I cleared
You enjoyed the prep.
I enjoyed the prep.
You loved it. What did you take? What were your subjects?
Then we had 2 optionals, sociology and public administration. So I took, I was studying them. So I did not resign. So both of us were working and then doing this. And then I think 2010 prelims I cleared, and mains I didn't. When the mains result came by 2011, I think April or something. So we were discussing, and she was like, with all this, this was a half-hearted attempt. It was not even a full attempt. Why don't you give it a full try and see whether, and I'll support, right? You resign your job. So it's not the first time, resigning the job.
Right.
So she said, you resign. And
resigned from your free scale engineering
job. And then, that 2011 April, I gave the exam, and that exam cleared. So October mains, and then I think the next 2012 March results came, and the 12 batch I took as Agmut. So I didn't want to take any South cadre or anything. Even my cadre preference is very, very interesting. Like I wanted to put UP, but everybody said I won't be able to survive in UP.
Right.
All my friends said.
Why? It's a very brutal place.
No, not brutal. They felt that I may not be able to accommodate, political interest or things like that. My
Right.
friends in Freescale only actually. Those, but then as a rebel, I thought, okay, if not UP, at least I'll put Uttarakhand. Second, I put Agmut. Third, I put Bihar, and you will find, I think, lot of
Agmut is UT cadre.
UT cadre, yeah,
Union
yeah,
Territory cadre.
cadre, yeah.
Right.
So Union Territory plus Arunachal, Goa, and Mizoram. So
Right.
3 states are also there. So that's how the UPSC journey began, right? This getting into. So it was never like only time I think I've met an IAS was in 10th when I got the state rank, and so the Kottayam collector had called me to his house to give some. That is only.
So you weren't from one of those families who were being
no.
brainwashed since 15 ki IAS karna hai,
No.
collector banna hai, UPSC crack karna hai. You were not.
Absolutely not. In fact, when I left, my parents are like, "Why are you leaving this? Right?
Right.
You're a well-settled Freescale semiconductor job.
Good job. Yeah.
Good job. Why?" And we don't come from that kind of a generational anything. So it's we need to build everything up, right? And why would you leave a job and then
To take that
and
risk.
that too after marriage? It's not even like so the full, and I'm the only child. It's not like I have brothers and sisters who can take care of the family. No. So only child after marriage. Then like say people are not very. Even when I left the job to get into the UPSC, that was as skeptical as when I left the IAS also. So it was more or less like that. So that is how I entered into the
You must have given
service.
them another heart attack when you resigned.
No, and I don't. At least not the immediate family.
Right.
For a lot of people, yes. For a lot of people, otherwise who knew me as they were like, he's being an absolute fool. This
We'll
is
come
not
to the
something.
resignation in a bit, because that is a very interesting bit. So tell us, you took this 1 year off and you actually managed to get through
But it was, I was clear that you have, this 1 year is probably 6 months. So the 6 months period is between April and October where you have the mains. So that around that period is when you need to study and clear. You don't have, I cannot afford another chance, right? Like you can't be.
This is it,
This
one
is it.
shot.
Yeah. I remember like to one of the professors who's like sociology, I took a class in Vajiram. So I remember telling him, sir, you tell me if you're leaving any chapters or anything, because it's not like I can have another attempt. So I need to go, I need to clear this attempt only. So that's how it cleared. But only thing was, I tell this preparation is very selfish, UPSC preparation. Very selfish in the sense, you really have to forgo all your commitment towards, your family or stuff, because it's brutal. It takes it all. I know a lot of people who are much more brilliant, who has a lot of knowledge, but who couldn't crack. And it has taken a toll on their health, mental health, physical health. A lot of people. At least like 4 or 5 in the immediate circle who I know have taken this not clearing the UPSC very badly, and they have then cracked CAT and gone to IIM Ahmedabad or and done this. Just imagine, that is a kind of a backup, right? But this exam is that brutal, and also a lot of it is luck driven, because it's one exam. That day, how you are feeling, what kind of questions are being asked, whether it is from the topic that all
and
those
you're
things
competing
matter.
against people who are equally brilliant, men and women.
Yeah. So much they have studied, right? And it is not
population is so
possible for you
large.
to study everything. So a lot of it is also luck. And I remember I didn't like geography that much, so I not prepared much on geography. And if you take a look at the 2011 mains, the portion of GS geography was very less. So I still think that if it was regular, I wouldn't have been into it.
Right.
So it's just a chance. That much of a chance is also there. A lot of people take it very bad, not clearing this. But that's not a, like.
I can imagine though, if you like spend 1 or 2 years
1 or 2
completely
is low, on a lower side.
lower side, right?
People spend 5-6 years preparing for this exam.
If you've completely completely given up many years of your life to this one pursuit, and you don't make it, I mean, that would be crushing, right?
Yeah, that's really brutal. And it's also not like a pursuit. You have to, like, people study 8 hours, 12 hours, continuously studying, preparing. And many a times I feel that it is because they want to become or be an IAS. That is the end of it, right? The question is, why do you want to be an IAS? Right? IAS cannot be the end. It is only a means.
In fact, it's the starting of your career.
Yeah,
actually,
absolutely.
literally, right?
And for career is one part. Consider it as a service, right? If you consider it as a service, because unlike any other career, you can't switch, you can't make, like that. It's once you're there for like your life, kind of. So people say that, born into a cadre. So you're kind of, next 30 years, you are into another cadre. So if you're in Kerala cadre or Uttarakhand cadre, so you're essentially born into that cadre. So that way, but why do you want to be that? Why do you want to put all this effort? Is it just so that you can lift yourself away from the society? Or is it so that you can use this to uplift the society, right? Whatever the people are around you. So that's a kind of many of this desire is to be something.
So what is the split you think? So that's actually a very interesting kind of, I think probably both factors drive people who are taking the UPSC, like in a real world. There are some people who just want to contribute to society, like what you said, it's a very powerful weapon to have if you want to, contribute back to society or change society in however you feel. And for some people, it just might be an end to power and prestige, right? Like, you say collector is king of that district and so on, right? Like, so what split is there? Anything? Do you think the split is changing? Like, do you think it was higher 60 years back or something like that?
No, it's very difficult for me to do that kind of a long-term analysis that whether it is changing. Yes, but what happens is...
but in your experience, what is the split between people? And I don't think there's anything wrong in just wanting a good job also,
absolutely.
I'm not saying it's a moral thing that I'm saying. Even everybody wants a good job. It's a human right to want a good job and so on. So that's great. But what is the split, you think?
Split in terms of ratio, you're asking, how many people, right? So I don't know. It's very difficult for me to hazard a guess there. Like, okay, what could be the ratio? But it's essentially, and it is also not like the reason for somebody to prepare will be the same once you get into the system also, right? It could be that when they're preparing maybe the power or a Lal Batti, or I know of an officer who very clearly said, I was inspired by the Lal Batti. And that person is one of the most, honest and service-oriented officer. Not at all interested in the Batti at all. But when you hear the story, he's telling about the Lal Batti, but the service has completely changed, right? His role is now not at all interested in the power part. He's actually interested in the service part. So that inspiration part also changes. So you might have come in for service and then you got trapped into the power, right? It's a very dangerous, very, very dangerous.
Humans are so complex, life is so long. How you change your goals.
And especially to power, you get addicted very fast. Something that you get addicted in no time. Even the slightest of change, because our power differentials in our society is huge. If you have access to government, you are somebody. You don't have access to power, you are nobody. So if you want to go to an office, first thing that you will see is, do you know anybody who knows that person? So you will find, okay, he is a friend of this guy who is in that office.
That's how Indian society works. Right?
So can you call him and tell that I can come? It need not matter whoever is that. Somebody in that office you need, like someone in that office. So you actually think like that, okay, I need access, a friendly access to go to any kind of a service that you need, right? So that access to power changes in a big way. Not only in IAS, I think in every organization it is the same, but that access to power changes in a big way.
But in terms of just quantum and magnitude, IAS will probably have that
huge
in a way that
huge difference.
Maybe no private job will have, right?
Yeah, that's why people prepare. Like people ask this question, right? So, generally, how do you enhance your sphere of influence or circle of influence? You can either have wealth, or you can have knowledge, great amount of knowledge. Or you can have power, political power, or you can have administrative power, some sort of a capital you need, right? So how do you amass this? So there was a time when capital was not there. So for me, if I want to do business, I need to either go take a loan, or my network should be like that, whether I'll get it. So it was very difficult for a normal person to do a big business, right? That has changed. Now the startup thing is, in a lot of it is because the capital has become easy.
Accessible, right?
Similarly, entry to political is very difficult. The entry barrier into political life, because once a student politics has gone down, how do you enter into politics? There is no way. What is the organic way to enter into politics?
Unless you're born in a political family, it's almost impossible.
Yes. So there is a huge barrier. So how do you then change your influence? Like, I want to influence the people around me. right? I think what I think is right, and it will impact all the people, and it should improve people's life. But how do I do that? So one way is either maybe you become a businessman, you provide jobs, you wealth and etc. Another way is to get into the political power. But these two things had certain barriers. One is a capital, economic barrier for entry. The other was this particular political, right? The third one, which is the administrative part, which said to everybody that you just study, right? You study, you give an exam. Before you give an exam, you are nobody. After you give just the change, the flip, right?
Is that a good method for selecting a bureaucrat though, an examination?
I
too, which like you could be, quizzed on.
I
don't know, like Hindi language or geography.
Yeah.
How does that it's a very old colonial system which is still continuing, but you've been through that system. What are your views on that? That this idea that the UPSC selects a very, very powerful administrator.
Yeah. As I see it, UPSC does not test knowledge. My understanding is, what UPSC tests is the ability to acquire knowledge.
Right.
So, which is something that you use again and again and again and again
in a very quick way.
In a very quick way, right? So, you're given 1 year or 1.5 year or 2 year, whatever period, and you're given everything under the sun to study, right? So, how much can you absorb? How much can you analyze, and how much you can process, and how much can you then express, right? This is the whole process, right? So, consume, analyze, process, and then express.
So, you're saying the exam is not very disconnected per se from of the things in the service.
I'm coming to that.
Right.
So, that is the part where in my understanding,
that's the good part.
So, because tomorrow you could be like, I have been in my service a GST commissioner, an excise commissioner, MD of a DISCOM, collector, social welfare secretary, all this in a small period of 7-8 years. So
you are by definition a generalist.
So, but you
IAS officer is a generalist.
Yes, you have to acquire that knowledge, be able to quickly, and then move on to another thing and again acquire. Many a times what we lose is the ability to acquire that knowledge so fast, right? But UPSC tests that in my way, which fails if you are doing it for 5, 6, 7, 8 years, right? Because then that kind of the incentive changes. At the same time, what happens?
Which many people do, right?
But there is a benefit also to that. Many times what happens because of your testing this, straight out of college or straight out of, you are as a student sitting on a bench, okay, sitting on a, studying, and the next thing you are sitting on the powerful side of the table, right? You've never been a citizen. You've been a student, and then you're an officer. So how do you feel to be a citizen? You're not aware. How does it feel to be on the other side of the table? Because you've never been to a government office and stood and talked to a government officer to get something done. So you don't have that experience that how much of a power differential is there. So many a times the citizen comes in and they are generally looking at you to first get an eye contact. Ki, saab kab dekhenge? Like, when will he look at us, right? And then maybe will he ask us to sit? They will stand till the time you say. And I'm saying a general thing, right? It's their taxpayer money. Everything is for their service, but still, it's like, but you will recognize it if you have been on the other side. Even once you have gone to a police station to file an affair, you will know that this is the experience that you have. But you have not. You have been on the student side and you have been on the powerful side. You've never been on the citizen side.
Skip the middle step.
So that step is very crucial. How do we combine these two things? Because that experience is important, very, very important. That shows a lot of reality in terms of how you behave also, right? Many a times in bureaucracy, it's a lot of files. Like for somebody who is coming in, it is his life and death matter. But the person who is sitting on the table, there are 100 such matters. So it is one of the 100 matters, like one among the 100 matters. So that person's one issue, and this it changes, the perspective changes in a big way, like a doctor or a patient, a kind of a thing, right? You generally get desensitized to this particular thing. And then you like, acha, kal aana, yeah. देख लेंगे हो जाएगा whatever be it, you're trying to get rid of the person at that point of time. So that I think somewhere some sort of a sensitization is required, what it means to be on the other side. In fact, even the academy, if they ask us to get ask the probationers to get 100 certificates done by going to different offices, I think it will be realized how
this
difficult
is the 1 year academy training in Dehradun after you get
Mussoorie. So even that will have a great because it is important to be a citizen before becoming an officer.
But do you think, so there is a lot of talk of lateral recruitment in the IAS, where mid-career people would come in. Do you think that would solve this issue that you're raising?
No, mid-career, again, there's an interesting thing about why IAS was there, right? So we are going a lot into the IAS part, okay?
Right.
But that was supposed to be an independent bureaucracy, not a committed bureaucracy to the current dispensation or the whichever dispensation is in power. An independent bureaucracy which is committed to the constitution, right? That is the idea of a. So political powers might come and go, but there will be a continuity in terms of commitment to the constitution, and that will remain, right?
So you are kind of like the bureaucrat to the Indian state,
Yeah.
not the current government in power.
Yeah, absolutely, right? Because they come and go. It's a permanent bureaucracy, right? So that was the idea. In fact, Sardar Patel tells about this also, that why it is important for such kind of a bureaucracy to be there, right? And the idea was that a strong independent bureaucracy would stand on the side of constitution even if the government or the present dispensation is going against the constitution, right? It won't be going with the whoever is in power, because they derive the power from the constitution rather than from the government itself, right? That was the thought. In fact, when he argued for a very strong bureaucracy and career bureaucracy, kind of a permanent bureaucracy.
And just to give more context, till then the Congress was not very in favor of a permanent bureaucracy.
The Congress was not.
They were British controlled. Yeah. The Congress struggled against them. The freedom struggle was in a way a struggle against
bureaucracy.
The bureaucracy, right? It was a bureaucratic state. Yeah. But yet the Congress did this change after independence. So it's an important thing that Sardar Patel did.
Yeah, definitely. But at the same time, it had its own negatives also. Because even now we don't see the people as our people. Right?
So IAS officers don't see Indian people as our people.
No, I don't say that. IAS people don't see. I'm not saying. I'm saying the state.
Right. The state as a whole is removed from the Indian people.
Let's say you are going at 10 o'clock in the night, right? Delhi, I think things have improved. But let's say some couple of constables are coming in their bike, and at 10 o'clock you are just randomly going, and if they have a latte, say, "Arey, idhar kya kar raha hai?" Say, then suddenly you will be scared.
Very scared,
right?
Yeah. Especially if I'm in Noida.
Your state, your government, your country. Why should you be scared?
This guy is supposedly he's serving me supposedly.
Right? Why should you be scared? But the scare that comes, right? That fear comes. Immediately it comes. Arey baap re, kya ho gaya? So you try to avoid police, right? When udhar se dikhega, idhar chale jayenge. Like you kind of, why are we avoiding the state? In fact, the whole Indian development story is about avoiding Indian state. The whole thing.
In fact, in Hindi, when you say court kacheri ka mamla, you don't need to explain. It's the worst thing that can happen to you.
No, even you
court
look
kacheri ka mamla ho gaya.
Look at development, municipality development. Public services were supposed to be provided by the municipality and the houses were supposed to be of individuals. The concept of gated community came. What was the concept? The concept was that municipality won't give us anyway services, and anyway those are. So we'll have our pool also inside, park also inside, playing ground also inside, everything inside.
Water inside.
Right? Everything, water, everything inside. So you actually have escaped
the city.
Or
the town or whatever.
City administration. So your development is actually from how an Indian citizen grows, from being dependent on government to being completely isolated from the government. The more you don't want to touch with the government, the happier you are. Right?
So if you're very rich and powerful in India, you secede from the government in some ways.
But beyond a point, then you are the government. So you become the government. But in between, a lot of growth. Yeah. And here again, wherever you want to interact with the government, I'll do you go and search on any government services that you want to see and search for, let's say driver license agent, okay, or motor vehicle RTO change agent. You search on Google, there are companies who offer this as in a Uberized way. That which city are you calling from? Okay, we have 3 people there. This is the commission. The RTO will take this much money. Because I don't want to interact with the government. Because it's a humiliating experience. Interacting with your own government at any level is a humiliating experience.
So you outsource that if you have the money to do it.
So you and God should not have an intermediary, but you and government has an intermediary. Right. You don't want to go to him directly. You will always go through an agent. From services you have isolated. For essential things, you have outsourced. So that is essentially how India has developed. Indian development is not a matter of state capacity and then citizens being able to access government services in a good way. No, it is about a lot of people getting out of the need to be dependent on the government. Just move out. And that is also one of the reasons why I should pay people ask like the housing prices are going up because lot of things that gated society is providing is supposed to be provided out of my tax by the government. The park, the pool, the playing grounds, all these things that place should have been just a tower. I should be getting out and I should be able to have an access to a public park. I should be able to have a public pool. I should be able to have a public playground.
Security,
all
water.
These things, right? Instead, we are paying tax, whatever we are doing. We are additionally paying service for our services. We have made a separate thing. So what are we getting from the government then? That is where a lot of frustration comes from. The only thing that we get is a road, right? Or maybe security. I agree that security is a huge aspect in law and order. So that is again, that also now we have done. So each gated community now will have security guards and
massive numbers.
And then access controlled entry. Who will enter, who will. Then you have apps to ensure that the photo is taken, he's gone back, he's outside. So security also has been privatized.
It's very irritating to enter those gated. It takes you 5 minutes to enter.
And people are obsessed with it. Who has entered? Why has he come at this time? Why has he not?
What is his phone number?
It's like you want to escape from the society that you're living in. You want to escape the city that you're living in. You're living in the city, but you want to escape from there. So that part of it is like where we have completely surrendered in terms of, at least in urban. So completely. So, and we also accepted that this is our development story.
But do you think what you're saying is very, very relevant? The fact that this Indian state is so removed from us, we want to escape it. But do you think having something like a permanent bureaucracy like the IAS makes that worse or makes it better?
Coming back to lateral entry. Sorry.
Yeah.
So now the idea was that the commitment to the constitution part, right? But over a period of time, I don't think Indian bureaucracy has done justice to the commitment to the constitution part. We have become as committed to the present dispensation as a lateral entry would have been.
Right.
So in that case, if that is the case, then there is no harm in having an expert from outside coming in particular. I don't see.
Anyway, the original aim is gone. And we'll come to that more. This
So
idea of
the
politicization.
idea, I would have been a lot more convinced of this argument if the bureaucracy had stayed or at least had the courage to fight back, right? Saying that no, this is not as per the constitution. No politician asked the government the bureaucrat to find an illegal way, do an illegal thing. The only thing that is being asked of a bureaucrat is do an immoral or an unethical or whatever thing, but in a legal way. So find the legal way to do the wrong thing, right? So that's the idea. What is that thing that you can? So the most efficient bureaucrat is who knows 100 legal ways to do the
wrong thing, right?
Right. So because he will be able to.
Who can put his immense brain power and on knowledge of the Indian state to turn black into white.
Everything is perfect on paper. So that's where this concept of Indian state moving away from, like, not Indian state, I would say, from rule of law to rule by law. The concept of rule of law is what? That the governance is according to the law, right? The other is rule by law, is the governance using the law. So using the law means, let's say I don't like you, okay, I'm in government, and there are you are staying in a line of houses, okay, row houses, let's assume, and almost all of them have violated something or the other, setback or a jajja or something extended, something or the other, right? You all done something. I'm fine with all of it. Tomorrow you write an article against me, okay, now I'll come to your house and say that you violated law. Now you are doing illegal things. The other four are also doing the same thing. If it was rule of law, I would do the same to all. If it is rule by law, I am not doing any illegal thing. I will give you notice, I will demolish your house, and if you go to the court to challenge, I will say he has violated very clearly, look at this. He has violated X, Y, Z.
Technically, you are sticking to the complete
absolutely clear.
Straight line.
Absolutely, I am doing everything legal.
But you weaponize the law.
I weaponize the law. That is a rule by law, right? So the rule by law is where when that is the way it is done, it is as good as committed bureaucracy, because that is their job, to find a way to pursue the interest. In fact, I was told, very clearly this, that what is the role of the executive by my political boss, that the role of the executive is to implement the political will. That's it. The job of an executive is to execute the political will. Very simple. So it got me thinking, is it actually, or is something more? Then I came up with an answer which was very different. I said it is to execute the political will, but within the constitutional and your own conscience, within the constitutional limits and as per your conscience. So, two things. One is your constitution is what? Our collective conscience, right? We have defined constitution as a collective conscience and the way in which we will do things. So, that's a way. But beyond that, you also have an individual conscience, right? There could be things. So, these two things for me has to be important. And within those ambit, anything that is a political will has to be executed by the executive. But this is something that individual has to do every time, whether it is within or not. And once, if we are not doing it, then a committed bureaucracy is fine. If a committed bureaucracy is fine, then lateral entry is absolutely fine. There is no harm, because at least they will go out with the next government, right? So, they are coming with some knowledge and they will go out. Of course, it will be favorism based appointment only, but it does not. So, bureaucracy has to prove its role that why a lateral entry is bad. If you are saying that because they will come and take contract and they will go, that is what all the bureaucrats can also do. What is the
big difference?
It's a big difference in that, right? The original strength was that, and that was also because of considering India's complications and complex situations, and at least it needed some stability, right? And that was a reason for a permanent bureaucracy, an independent permanent bureaucracy. Whether the need is still there or not, you'll have to see.
I want to come back to what you said, Kannan, this idea of going from a student to behind that big, oak desk of being this very powerful person. I want you to explain how it happened for you. So, you cracked the UPSC in 2012, and then you went to Delhi. Then after some time you went to Mizoram. After a bit you became collector of Aizawl. What was that for you? You were like this, nerdy engineer, designing chips.
I'm still a nerdy engineer.
You're still a nerdy engineer.
Still that.
But then you were a nerdy engineer who was also responsible for lakhs of lives. What was that change for you?
No,
did you get up in the morning one day and think like, whoa, I have like a lot of power?
Academy, there is something which comes in between the IAS Academy. So, there you go and life kind of changes, because you meet, you are not the only person. You suddenly become one among the... Only your journeys are unique. Destinations are never unique. Once you reach the destination, you will see 100 more people are there. Right? Their journeys are also unique, but they are all the same destination only. So, once you reach there, okay, there are more people who are equally good or better. They are there. They have their own dreams, their own ways, So, they reach there, and then you interact, you learn, you different values. A lot of good stuff happens. In fact, Delhi, for me, the biggest cultural shock was from going from Delhi to Mizoram.
Right.
So, Delhi, I was there. In fact, for a couple of months.
You started your career in Delhi, basically.
As a training, and then the training posting.
What were you in Delhi?
So, I was assistant collector South Delhi, and then in fact, I was conducting
So, you were assistant collector where we are sitting right now, right?
Yeah. In fact, Jijabai and Kamala Nehru, and we were conducting elections here 2013 and 14. Right here. So, in fact, there I was playing a much bigger role than being during those elections. And the difference was that Delhi has a very interesting sir culture, right? That if you're listening to somebody who is speaking to a senior, you will never know what the topic is.
Right.
Let's say you even listen, you will only say sir. Sir.
Right.
Sir. Over. Right? You don't know what it was. Okay, what was the topic? Okay, so you just listen.
And even the tone of the sir is the only information.
Very. And so Delhi was like little bit.
So how was Mizoram different?
Mizoram was completely different. Mizoram, I don't know how it portrays me in any way, but the story is like from here I went to Mizoram, and I think 6 hours to the place where I was posted, right? And I was going in the vehicle, and the driver asked me in between, sir, you want to eat food? So I said, no, we'll go there and eat food. Relax. 5 minutes later, he stopped. And
because he wanted to eat food.
He went to the restaurant. Right. I said, why? I said, no, that we'll go there and eat. I said, yes, you go there and eat. I want to eat. See, the hunger, it didn't occur
so it's a far more egalitarian place. Like
course.
He had that agency.
Yes.
Very few people in North India or
many
other states in India would have done that.
वो
अपना भूख दबा देता बेचारा.
So even it points to me also. Like I took it granted. I didn't ask him that are you hungry. I should have asked him, right? Are you hungry? If you're hungry, please. But I learned from that. So that was a immediate thing that okay.
Delhi mindset to Mizoram mindset.
Gone, completely gone, right? So and that is actually that has actually helped me there. Once you understand that you are in a different society, it's a high trust society, it's an egalitarian society, right? And things that you will do as an administrative smartness here, you will not do there, right? I try to do, like here I was in Chhatarpur and all that, I was removing encroachment, acquiring, the most of the land here in the South Delhi is acquired during the DDA period, 1980s and all. So, but they have not been able to take possession. So I remember taking possession in various places, going a lot of stuff. In fact, one of the funniest gali I've heard is actually in Delhi. Here, when I was removing one of the areas. One lady came to me and said, "तुम्हें plastic के कीड़े पड़ेंगे."
Oh.
And for me, I was confused. I was a little confused, like इतना specific. So then I asked why, क्यों? So ना गलेगा ना मरेगा. So plastic won't disintegrate; it will also not die. So it will always be there, right? So of course, like they also knew the land had to be taken, but that. Lot of confrontation has happened. In fact, been rescued by people. Delhi was very interesting experience. Lot of stuff going on here, and Mizoram also similarly. So here, this encroachment thing was there. I went to Nathial and then I thought, encroachment is something. And I read the powers. The powers enable the SDM and the DM and all in a big way. So, and this is SDM in Nathial. It's bordering Myanmar. Now it's a district. Then it was a subdivision. I was there, sitting there.
This is before your Aizawl stint.
Before Aizawl. So there, and I didn't know Mizo or anything. So I just read the act. I said, SDM has a lot of power even to send people to jail. I feel like, if you can send people to jail, you are empowered, right? That's the whole idea of being in power.
For being in power, of being the state.
Power, you can send people to jail, right? So SDM can directly send people to jail. Wow, super, right? So I remember doing some anti-encroachment stuff. It's a complete, there are hardly 20,000 people there. And it's a large area. And there is no issue of land encroachment, but there is government land and they have a more community concept of a land also. So, but these are things new for me. I went with the Delhi land attitude and land revenue attitude. I went there. I started sending notices and all. And people are like really initially.
You went with that whole Delhi agro
thing. Yeah, the officer aaya hai. People should know somebody has come. An IAS officer has come. Right? So then I remember a senior officer from, very senior officer had met me during my elections here. I was conducting elections and he randomly called. Hey, hello Kannan, how are you? I said, sir, I'm good, but I am feeling some hostility here. I said, why? What are you doing? Are you doing government's work or people's work? So he just asked randomly, not in these terms, but he asked on this. So I said, sir, I'm doing encroachment and all this. I said, okay, but think, what do you want to do, right? We're in such a place. So at least think over before getting into stuff. Then that is the first time I realized that he said something like government will force you to do government's work anyway. You can't escape it. But people's work, unless you take interest, you will not even know what they want. You won't even know what is the requirement. So then actually, I remember having a meeting and asking people, then they said they need an ATM. Of course, I should have known because I also go 2.5 hours to district headquarters to withdraw money. Right? So it was a long pending request. Then there was no internet in that subdivisional headquarters. So that the college, there was a college, there was media journalists, so many people were there. They were not having access to internet. So these were the things that then there was of course some sort of a waste disposal and plant that was required. So these things, this came out from the people in these interactions, right? And then we were able to do. In fact, writing a letter to SBI for an ATM, writing a letter to the BSNL guys saying that we need the internet.
So did you get the ATM?
Yeah, I did. Oh, in fact, that was a big story. That was a big, because I wrote directly to the SBI chairperson. I think Arundhati Bhattacharya or something she was the chairperson. So I wrote a letter, ma'am, I am so and so IAS XYZ. I need an ATM in Nathial. And she replied next day saying that find out, ensure that there is a place there, we will do it.
This is the positive power an IAS officer can have.
That 3-letter.
Yeah.
Anybody else could have written that letter.
But because you wrote it,
yeah,
the SDM wrote it.
And she's chairperson SBI. She wrote back saying that we'll do it. And we did actually. And same for internet. We got 2014-15, you won't remember, SDM was having 32 internet connections, and I was rationing who will get the there. Because only 32 out of some 64, this thing 32 was converted into internet, and then who will get, you know?
In the entire
The subdivision, entire subdivision.
In the subdivision, 32 connections. Right.
So our understanding of the country also will change, right? From here when you're going there. In fact, other thing that I realized was that we are not, because in the Akmut cadre, we are not taught all the state languages.
Right. In other cadre, you have to learn the state language.
During the training only. But here, because so many languages are there, you're not taught. In fact, I wanted to learn Punjabi. Chandigarh is there. But then they said, you do only Hindi. That's enough. In fact, I was moved away from my Punjabi class to Hindi class. I said, my work, Hindi is okay. I can speak Hindi. He said, no, you sit. But then when I went to Mizoram, Nathial, what I observed in the beginning was people would come and look at a non-Mizo face, and they would not come to my office because they don't feel that I will be able to understand their problem, right? And imagine I'm sent there to serve, and they cannot come to me directly.
They feel alienated from you.
Yeah. So after a while, there's not so much of work. So I used to take that Mizo dictionary and English Mizo both, and I used to have anybody comes, I say, please come. Like I will translate. Don't worry. I will try to learn. Slowly I learned Mizo. Nathial, I remember I used to give a Republic Day speech and
in Mizo.
The crowd was amazing. It's like a full stand-up comedy for them, no? Like I don't know. Like I'm assuming most of it was just they came just for fun. Just to there is some
this Malayali man
speaking Mizo.
Right? Mizo, right.
I used to try to, and Mizo is a tonal language. Right. So how you modulation is
how
the word
you say
changes.
The sound, the
changes the meaning.
changes, like Chinese.
Yeah, exactly. So it's
a tonal language.
So tonal language.
Even Punjabi is a tonal language, by the way.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that.
But anyway,
so it's completely changes. The lay changes from stone to tongue to bridge. It changes like drastically the things, right? So people used to stand on top of the houses and all, like just to listen to the Republic Day speeches. But that learning Mizo.
But I'm sure they must have, like, even if it was funny in the moment, I'm sure they must have appreciated your effort.
Yeah. No, even now, I'm in almost all the groups.
Right.
They don't call me saying that come to Mizoram. So the word they use is come home to Mizoram.
Come on.
Come back, like
I think a lot of the, just to really jump, but a lot of the language issues in India, there's so much of language politics, language jhagda, this, that. And I think at the heart of it sometimes is just at least give it a shot, like if you are in my place, if you are in my state, district, region, whatever, sometimes in India you can even go further, right? In Karnataka there's a Tulu region. I think even if you just give it a shot, I think people kind of like that. They don't want you to become, I don't think any Bengali expects you to become Rabindranath Tagore, right? But
that is not even expected of any Bengali.
That's not even expected of any Bengali, right? But if you give it a shot, I think you seem like less of an asshole, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. So in fact, something I learned when I learned that somebody was beaten up for not knowing a language. So I learned 4 sentences in all the languages. So I told in some other podcasts also. One was that I don't know your language, right? So please speak in Bengali. I know this, English kotha bolo. Right. So in Bengali, I can say that you speak in English.
That's amazing, right?
Right. Then I am hungry.
Right.
And then don't beat me.
Don't beat you, right?
Don't beat me.
In case somebody's beating you.
See, I am getting beaten up and I'm asking him not to beat me, but he is not able to understand. He's still beating me. That is my failure. No? At least I should be able to convey in his language, don't beat me. So I learned these 4 sentences in I think some 20-25 languages. So Naga, Assamese, Odia.
You are now very fluent in Hindi. When did you learn Hindi?
Hindi I learned in your college only.
In my college only. So one khulasa we must give is that Kannan is a year senior to me.
Yeah.
From BIT Mesra. Right. So we were from the same college.
Yeah.
So when you first came to BIT Mesra, for those who don't know, it's an engineering college, a few kilometers, 20 kilometers from Ranchi. So, I think many engineering colleges in North India, the sort of lingua franca is Hindi. I think even my Hindi has become better after I went to engineering college, I think.
You'll have to see that.
Up se podcast हिंदी में करना चाहिए. Let's see किसका हिंदी better है, Calcutta or Kottayam.
Right. No.
So then when you went to BIT, you didn't know a word of Hindi.
No, not much. In fact, learning Hindi was not a priority. And in fact, I studied in a technical school, and it's a government school, but a technical-oriented government school. And so we didn't have this third language. So Hindi was not there at all. So only Malayalam and English was there. So when I came to this thing, I was far away from Hindi. But then...
but you learned.
I learned. Yeah, language I love.
You love learning languages.
I love learning. And it gives so much connect the moment you speak a couple of sentences in the person you're talking to, because it appreciates. First of all, there is an appreciation, right? Somebody is putting that effort. It's not at all about how good or bad your language is. It's about the effort that comes from a respect, right? I'm not there to judge that culture. I'm not there to be prejudicial or change or any of that. I'm there to serve it as a bureaucrat. So if you're there to serve it, then first thing is to respect. I think learning languages is the first part of that, giving that respect.
So Kannan, you said a very interesting thing. This idea when you went there and you read the rules of the SDM, powers of the SDM, and he can literally jail someone. What was your age at that time?
Okay, mine was, I think I entered at 25, I think.
25, right?
So another couple of years.
Another couple of years, right?
Yeah,
so 25. So for a mid-20s person, for a man or woman to get that sort of power is quite unusual in any system, right?
Right.
How do IAS officers deal with that? Like, does it like corrupt them? Do many people take it on and do good? Like, how is it working?
Yeah, both happens.
Both
happens, right? So as he said, like, power can,
Just give us some examples of how much power a collector has actually. You've been collector of 2 places, right?
Yeah. So tremendous powers. In the sense, because especially the DM post, almost all the laws, right, in India, gives a lot of discretionary powers.
It flows through the DM basically.
Discretionary powers. Anything regulatory, when it has to come to the district, it will come, just they will put. So from newspapers, regulating the newspapers or registration of that, or cinema, or like theatres and random stuff, right? All this.
He is the Indian state in that district.
In that, because that was this way it was structured.
That was the way it was structured.
Right? So almost any new law also coming, somewhere you will put a power. So be it Essential Commodities Act, be it anything that you take, even prisons, right? DM is there in the administration of the prisons, everything somewhere. So legally a lot of power is given to the DM. Of course, a lot of it is also regulated because departments are there other systems have come, all that. But like something I was very uncomfortable when I was in Silvassa as a collector there, was that there is this power, Dadra Nagar Haveli, was that there is this PASA or PSA, like in Jammu Kashmir and all is there, that generally
it's a preventive
detention. Preventive detention is there under CRPC also, but this is something much longer. Without a trial, somebody can be put in jail for 6 months. In some places 2 years, right? And the power is actually given.
And without not even without trial, without charges.
Without charges.
Right.
Without charges.
Without trial, those is
already a lot of people are doing.
That's a lot of people are doing without any charges.
Without any charges.
You can just, it's like this Minority Report thing. You will say that he might commit a crime. Like, so you look into the future.
Yes.
And he might commit a crime, so you will put him in jail.
Yeah. So the police gives a report and saying that this guy has some criminal antecedent. So it could be some CRPC, some proceeding, something. And then based on this, there is a chance that this guy can do again. So now it is put to the DM to put him, and there is only an appellate, a tribunal or something through which they can challenge it later, right? A board or something like that. A review board is there. So, but that power, I have not put anybody under that. In fact, requests have come and I rejected. And there is a political angle also to that, because I felt always that when I am exercising a power to curtail somebody's right, fundamental right, ideally that should not be with me to begin with. It should be a judicial decision. Preventive also, another way to look at it is as if you have to maintain peace in your district. For that, you need to put people in jail for 6 months and 2 years altogether. Then I feel you are all a failure already in a lot many ways, right? Like you are collector. If you're powerful enough, you should be able to, you think this power thing is there, you should be able to just tell him, boss, mat karna kuch.
mat karna kuch.
Right? 6 mahine kuch mat karo. Right? If he doesn't listen to you, then you're already like, big time.
I know.
So, but that power I still don't know. And it is in fact spreading. In fact, that power is now getting more and more, like you can call it Gunda Act, NSA, PSA, VASA, whatever be it. This discretionary executive powers to violate fundamental rights of the citizens, that is only increasing. That should have gone down. After 70, 75, 80 years of this, the more we grow as a democracy, the powers of the state should reduce and the rights of the individual should increase.
In a very ironic way, I think the powers are more compared to what they were in 1947, right?
In many cases.
The Raj had fewer powers
right.
to say just throw someone in jail without any charges than the modern Indian state has.
So the direction in the state has taken in many ways is what most uncomfortable for me, which is that the relationship between the state and the individual, it is now, always state was much more powerful and the citizen was, but there was a direction in which the citizen was getting more and more empowered. You can look at your RTI or an RTE or whatever be it. These are rights. These are not a discretionary of the government to do.
Right,
if I am giving a question, I don't need to get 1,000 people and do a march to collectorate to get an answer. Right? I can just write a letter, and so that is where the citizenry comes. Now, power of a citizen should be the same even if it is 1 or 1,000 or 1 lakh or 10 lakh. It shouldn't matter.
But one thing that it's very interesting. So, in a democracy, this should come down. The bureaucracy should have less and less discretionary power, right?
Yeah.
But in India, it's gone the other way. So, politicians really like the fact that they have this man sitting in the district who has all these powers and will maybe listen to them. Is that their calculation?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, essentially, you need people who will do their bidding and in an efficient way. Right? That's a kind of, as I said, when you take away the constitution and conscience from what is the role of an executive, it just becomes executing the political will. The most efficient executive or bureaucrat is the one who can execute the political will in the most efficient way without applying any other yardstick. Right? Judiciary does not, like in my understanding, day-to-day rule of law is not ensured by judiciary. It's ensured by the bureaucracy. Right? Or I'm including police into that. Whether to arrest, let's say you or not, is decided by the SHO. Later you can go and challenge in the court and something. But
already 2 saal guzar gaya hoga na.
Gone already, right? So that rule of law, who ensures that? It is that particular executive. It's not a judiciary which is ensuring. So judiciary is more of a remedy, right? It is not preventive in case of that. So that rule of law, that the rights are not violated to begin with, is to be ensured by the bureaucracy. That is why the police and the civil bureaucracy is different. Certain checks and balances are put, all these things. That is where this sensitization also has to happen. One of the primary role is to that. It is to enhance the citizens' rights. It is not to curtail them further. That is the role of the bureaucracy. And that means surrendering further power from the state to the citizen. That is the direction in which we should move. Right? That's how I perceive it. Maybe people have different. So there is an efficiency argument also here, that the more power, people are not interested in all these rights and this thing. Just be efficient in service delivery. Right? You deliver stuff right, and then that is all your job.
That's fine. Then we look at everything else. Or sab dekh lega hum log.
People who are questioning and all are nuisance. And so the nuisance have to be dealt with with iron hand, and the services has to be delivered. So that's a different way of looking at governance. Right? So give something, and those who are asking, so you give a gas cylinder, but if there is no money to refill it and they raise question, then shut them up. Right? So we'll give, but don't ask.
Don't ask. To me though, by the way, and this is a connection that's very often not made, this idea of giving the bureaucracy so much power, isn't it an incentive for corruption? If this man has so much power or this woman has so much power, right, who's to check them?
No, power, of course, like the saying is there, the power corrupts kind of a thing. I don't generally agree that that is the case.
For example, I'll give you one example that is very, very prominent right now. With GST, right? There are a lot of complaints against GST officers using not so lawful means against businessmen. Like just to give you one random, of course, I think we'll all have examples, you said, when you deal with the Indian state, it's always traumatic for Indians. So, like, the efficiency argument is given, but in a way, to me, it seems like this is also a way to create inefficiency, right? You've given this person so much power, and you're almost expecting that person to be a good person, which might be true sometime, might be
you
like
can also
humans
see it
are.
in what is the efficient way to do corruption.
Right, exactly, right.
So if you're doing efficiency, we should be efficient everywhere. I don't think that's a designed or that's a planned thing. We are generally not comfortable with transparency, accountability, because the structure is like that. I always ask this question. You might be able to write a tweet criticizing the Prime Minister today also, but I'll challenge you to write something challenging the Tahsildar or a Daroga,
Right.
your local inspector.
Right. I know.
Just try doing one thing, that ye banda galat hai. Write one thing. You will see your limit of being an Indian citizen. Right?
That's a great point. Yeah.
So you can write somebody who's far away. Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Right? The collector. Start doing. People have various ways of monitoring
In fact,
social media.
a lot of Indian press freedom, the really terrible risk that some journalists face, it's not because they're questioning necessarily the Prime Minister.
Yeah. It's a local.
Because they're questioning a local bureaucrat or a local neta.
Yeah, that's generally because that's where the power actually
like
interaction
hits
happens.
The
right?
rubber hits the road kind of thing.
Yeah, so there, the solution to that in many ways is, in certain cases, those powers or discretions and all are important, but the solution is transparency. Why we are, the corruption part is also going up is also we are cutting down on the transparency part, because we don't feel we should be, that accountability is, towards the citizens. We feel the accountability is towards whoever is above us, right? So that is also to politically speak, that is very symptomatic of a strong leader government, right? So you don't need to answer. So I give a very personal example. So I used to do this when I am getting transferred. I will ask whoever I worked with to give me 3 negative feedbacks. Not positive, nothing. Because anyway, I'm getting transferred. I'm not going to do anything to them. I can't do anything. So they will give 3 negative feedbacks. And from Mizoram, even Silvassa, everywhere, I've done this. I've gotten very interesting feedbacks, like, keep more handkerchiefs, you sweat a lot, to, very, very, that you should listen to your.
That's a bit rude. Somebody said you sweat a lot.
Yeah, so,
right.
But that is being honest. I asked 3 negative,
guess, yeah.
Right? Whatever you want to give me as a feedback, negative feedback. And I say, like, no positive feedback. You can't write anything positive. You have to absolutely give negative, right? There is one very interesting thing that came, because I had this habit of, if there is a law and order issue in Mizoram, I used to send only male executive magistrates. Whenever I used to feel there is a threat of a physical harm, right? And there are situations where. And it used to happen multiple times. And in this feedback, actually, I came to know, and I couldn't change it when I was in Aizawl. One lady officer wrote this as a feedback, that you don't trust us with sensitive law and order situations, and you have a bias. But in my mind, I was thinking that I should be, like not putting them in uncomfortable or physical kind of a situation.
They found it patronizing.
Yeah, they felt their SDM as good as, or their executive magistrate as good as anybody else in that. There, I had like 8 or 10 executive magistrates there. And why this bias, right? And maybe that only that person felt, maybe other person did not feel that way. But that I took, like, so very good feedbacks have come. But what I'm saying, in Silvassa, when I did this, next day I got a call from the political boss, right? He called and said, Kannan, tum chaprasi se feedback loge? This was literally the word, right? Like, you will take feedback from people. You ask me, I will tell how you are doing, right? You don't need to ask them, right? So that's a very typical of where the
breaking
power
hierarchy,
flows,
basically.
where even a feedback, that is a question, right? Where do you feel accountable to? Do you feel accountable to the people, or do you feel accountable to the boss? Right? And that's a question, whether you are a government servant or a public servant, right? So it's a mix of both. It cannot be just one. There would be cases, times, and that is also the reason why laws have so vehemently empowered DM, because it is that person is expected to take independent stand, even if it goes at times against the government. Right? That is because it is not like the law says what DM will do whatever the CM asks him to do. That's not what the law says. Law says whatever the CM after application of DM after his application of mine will do. Right? So it is not like just Adesh Palan karna aapka kaam hai. Follow the direction. No. So that trust was there, but somewhere that is not being, it's also difficult in many ways.
But just to play devil's advocate, Kannan, but isn't it the job of a DM to follow the diktats of a democratic government?
Now the government calls me, say, ki arrest Shoaib. Okay. Should I do it? I have the power.
No, don't do it.
No, not. So should I do it or not?
Right.
It's a direction, but the law very clearly, because that is where it does not empower the government.
It implies the
It's
DM.
the DM.
So you must apply your mind.
I must apply it, saying that when I'm going to violate your right, your liberty, I'm going to do that. So here I am not directly answering to the government. I am answering to the constitution. I'm going to violate your fundamental rights. So there it is not like government ne likh ke naam de diya 10 logon ka utha lo. That's not the way it should be.
You're doing something unlawful in some ways.
You're still being lawful.
Like technically.
Because I have the powers, and I need not apply my mind. Somebody else has applied my mind for that. But that's not what the law says. So whether I apply, that's where I said the conscience and the constitution part. So that should be emphasized. Otherwise, it's very easy to just consider this. And this is, let's say I'm a tax commissioner or secretary tax. Government says reduce the tax by 2%. I don't agree. I feel it should be increased by 2%. There I don't have that discretion. There the government says increase, whatever the public, it's a public mandate. It's a political will. I will do it. There is nothing. So these are two different things. One where you are violating an individual's right. Another, you are just executing a political will. Right?
You can't do the former. You should not be able to do the former.
I should not be able to do the former. I should be convinced. Okay, I feel that this not because of the government said, but because I should be convinced. Even if the government is saying, government should be able to convince me that the police should give the information enough so that you are convinced that this should be done to that person. So that is where the thing comes. If you are just following the diktat, then you don't need to do all this, right? The law should have been very easy. DM will just sign. You don't need to sign. Anybody can sign. Why do you need?
So explain to me one thing, Kannan. So one of the most amazing trends of the last maybe 50 years in India is that when you mention strong men or strong women, politicians come up, and to rule they actually empower DMs or bureaucrats, largely, right?
Bureaucrats. Yeah.
So it's very interesting. They would rather trust a bureaucrat versus sometimes even their own party ministers.
Yeah, of course.
Right? Like the most powerful, and this cuts across from Modi to Mamata. You'll see that they will empower very, very powerful IAS officers.
No.
Why?
Why? Because they are not competing in my field.
Right.
So, if I empower another politician, that
he might eat up my gaddi one
because
day.
we are in the same field. Right? So, you empower consultants. Why? Because the consultant is never going to come and tomorrow say that, okay, this is my idea. I am powerful. Now I am going to contest elections. Okay, one consultant is doing that. But like generally you won't see that. Right? So, governments are comfortable, especially political leaders are comfortable empowering bureaucracy because all that is needed is that loyalty. And second, they are not in the same field. They are not in that pursuit of political power. Their political power is derived from the strength of this leader only. Right?
Also, to give a positive thing, maybe they really do understand the administration, right?
No, but maybe in a system because we have a cabinet system, right? We don't have a presidential system, that one person. Yeah. So you can trust another minister, and then also the administration's knowledge or understanding doesn't get any less because of that.
In a way, this is an overturning of the cabinet system, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
This idea that cabinet ministers are less powerful than a babu.
Bureaucrat, yeah. There are cases like where from a PMO a call comes, the ministers are literally shivering. That PMO bureaucrat
In fact, I think not only cases, I think almost every state there would be a case like that, where there would be bureaucrats who are more powerful than cabinet ministers.
Yeah, but individually is okay, once or here there. But as a system, I don't think it's very. It also helps them to escape, right? Because they are not part to. Bureaucrats don't have the that 360 degree or kind of an accountability. They are, once they have taken away, they are only elected government, and the election is done by the leader. So that's all, right? So their system of cabinet is a lot more, I think, for Indian functioning of. Also, it's a collective wisdom. See, if you have 3 or 4 or 5, 6 people sitting and with different opinion, with understandings, come and discuss and take a decision, it's different. When I am a strong leader, all my bureaucrats, if I give an idea, right? Most my bureaucrats are going to say yes only. I'll give an example. Maybe it will be slightly political, but still I want to give that example. Remember once PM Modi gave a statement of radar and that I said आज करते हैं बादल है वो
the Balakot strikes.
yeah, right, we'll be able to somehow cloud and the radar theory. That was not the issue. Prime Minister is expected to know how the radar functions or cloud or anything. The thing was, this was said after 3-4 months, good 3-4 months or 5-6 months after the incident, right? He might have said this in his meeting where the NSA was there, where chief of all the staffs in different services were there. Pretty sure PM secretaries were there, right? Cabinet secretary was there. All of them were there. But nobody corrected him, right? So he thought what he felt and what he said was the right thing, right? That is the issue with this relationship. When the boss says something wrong or completely irrelevant, people don't have the courage to tell because their power completely comes from him, right?
And ideally in a cabinet system where it's collective responsibility.
So 4 people are sitting together, another person would say.
Somebody might have the confidence to correct even the Prime Minister.
His power doesn't come from Prime Minister. His power comes from his constituency and his own political,
his own independent
support. So he might have said.
In fact, the Prime Minister might depend on him for his
system, right? So he would have said that, sir, aisa nahi hota, right? It is not that he thought so is the issue. It is that nobody corrected him for a good 6 months is the issue. That means a lot of critical government decisions are being taken without being challenged or without being contested. So that is a much bigger issue. And that is also an issue of...
It's hitting at this is not some airy-fairy idea. It's hitting at the quality of governance itself.
Absolutely.
Like we are getting poor governance because of this...
A lot of this
strongman bureaucratic
demonetization. Right? You took that decision, fine. How it went, everybody knows, right? I remember I was collector Aizawl then. I couldn't write anything, but I knew at that moment that this is not a good decision. But nobody could say anything because if you say anything against it, somebody would say that, okay, you are holding black money or something. So I remember writing a sentence that great decisions need not be good decisions. Look, everybody was telling it is a great decision. So I wrote a very cryptic that day that great decisions need not be good decisions. Right.
Where did you write this?
Twitter.
Oh, you wrote on Twitter?
I wrote on Twitter.
Actually, maybe a greater example of that is the lockdown, right?
Yeah.
It was done. I mean, maybe the lockdown overall was a good idea, but the way it was done, I think it took a lot of lives. Like we don't have an accounting of how many people died.
Yeah. And just imagine Indian people going from one state to the other state, and every state border they were being beaten up by the police. We said, you cannot travel anywhere. We said there won't be any bus, there won't be anything. We won't provide you any support. We won't provide you any food. We won't provide any social support. I remember I was in Thane and people are walking from Mumbai, right, to go to Bihar and Uttar Pradesh, and they need to cross from Maharashtra to Madhya Pradesh. There they will, because they are crossing the border and they don't want people to come inside. Our people, we were beating our people who did no wrong, nothing. They were just working somewhere. They wanted to go home because otherwise they thought they would not be able to survive.
They would have starved because the wages were not being paid.
They just wanted to go back home and we were beating them. Imagine. Our police was beating them. How is it acceptable?
Mad time. And just decided by, almost one person maybe.
And essentially you have to think, right? What is it that you are thinking? You have to explain. And this contestation, so decisions should be after deliberation. You can't decide and then deliberate. Deliberate, debate and then decide. Right? You can't decide and say, okay, now that is why a lot of these decisions what government does.
Ideally the contestation should happen before the implementation.
Yeah, absolutely.
People should
that's what the deliberate and debate.
To tell you that, maybe this is not right.
Yeah, the deliberation and debate should happen before the decision.
Exactly.
And that is why a lot of things, they go back. You do something, then you go back. You do something, then you go. Because it is not contested at the time of decision making. It is not...
Only after.
Yes. Suddenly, we hadn't even considered these things. No, we need to take it back. But imagine the amount of impact it is having, every such decision and going. It also, government's credibility loses, but it impacts people. Right? I don't know whether you remember, like people walking on the railway track and the train hitting, they thought that railway services were not working.
It was a time of incredible tragedy.
Yeah. Here from Delhi, people are trying to go back. And I think the bureaucrats who arranged the bus for them were suspended for 6 months.
I think, yeah, I mean, we done a story about that at that time. I think India's lockdown was harsh in a way that almost no one else's was, because it had no planning behind it. For example, when China also had a very harsh lockdown in some areas, but they planned for things like food delivery and so on. India just, I mean, there was this top down.
We had that shock value, no? So suddenly
One day there'll be a.
just do it, because we didn't want to avoid that suddenly we'll shock the people. That's like a charak. So that
As if that's the aim.
to
shock the
like
people.
nothing is happening, boring life. Suddenly, oh my God. So that happened. A lot of this is because of the lack of discussion, deliberation, and a little more consensus building kind of a decision making. No, that you take people on board before taking a decision. So that part is completely gone. That is because that is now considered as weakness, right? Building consensus is considered as a weakness. It's not a it's not a good.
You
thing.
look bad. It'll be bad for your politics.
Yeah, you don't need all this. You have the mandate. You take decision. So, but that has its impact in a big way. And a lot of things you'll see this. Every single thing you do one thing, then take back, then you do one thing, take back, take one, take back. Yeah.
I want to end the podcast, Kannan, with your resignation. 7 years after your time in the IAS, in 2019, you sent a letter.
Attempt to resignation.
You sent a letter saying you wanted to resign, but the government of India in its wisdom has still not accepted your resignation. He's still on the roll, so he's still technically an IAS officer.
Yeah, I don't consider.
But legally you are.
I don't consider legally also. Like, that way they can just sit on it for the whole life, and then life. I am.
But tell us what made you resign?
No, I especially 19 and what happened in Kashmir, right? 370, I remember. In fact,
the abrogation of Article 370.
Abrogation, I may have 50-50 opinion, like whatever, one thing or the other. I would still believe that unless you take a decision by taking people on board, it's not a right decision. I still believe that. But beyond that, how we went ahead and implemented it. You took a decision, and then to ensure that there is no backlash to it, you just decided to shut down an entire state, right? And this was purely executive. It was not like a constitutional emergency was declared or any of that. Pure bureaucratic executive orders were given. 144. Transportation, shut down the transportation, shut down mobile network, shut down internet, put every leader behind jail, any youth leader behind jail, ex-MP, sitting MPs, ex-CMs, everybody in jail, the whole state. Like, I was thinking like it's not possible.
I mean, as bad as Indira Gandhi's emergency was, at least she declared
there was
emergency.
A declare.
This was not even declared, undeclared emergency.
Nobody knew when, what is it. It is just going on. Like on August 5th, I had my own tussles going on also, but August 5th, I remember very clearly I'm meeting with, in fact, that is where this discussion of what is meant to be an executive came up. I was told, Kannan, look, it's your own, brethren, like colleagues who are doing this, right? And
as in other IAS
officers. Because it is not a constitutional or a parliamentary or anything. The amendment happened, rest all was bureaucratic, it's pure executive. So I remember he telling that if you were there, you would have said fundamental rights, constitution, because I used to have that tussle with him. A very interesting case of somebody being electricity connection was disconnected to a political leader because he was very vocal there. And after that, I think
who was the leader? That you can say.
Leave the names.
Right.
So the leader, the electricity was disconnected.
Some leaders, electricity connection was snapped.
Because his house, he got a new house constructed and it was not still regularized by the municipality or whatever. And some random reason, electricity was disconnected.
But it was actually to do with 370.
No. Nothing to do with 370. Much before that.
Right.
Before.
Oh, right.
Okay. I'm saying why he specifically targeted me with this question. And then after that, what happened? But he still didn't bow down to the administration, right? So he was using a generator, right? And I was also holding the charge of Member Secretary Pollution Control. Okay, I was holding multiple charges, so one of this was this. And there, he came and told me that they're using generator, so it must be generating smoke, right? If it is generating smoke, it should come under the pollution control. Disconnected his electricity. So the person is using generator to run his house. It's already too expensive and difficult for him. But he has not still crawled, right? So, and then I remember arguing with
where is this happening?
This is in Daman.
Daman.
Yeah. So I was telling him that sir, you can't do this. Right, like there is a certain rights that people have. I know you may not like him or you want to, but this is not fundamental rights. I just remember having this discussion about fundamental rights, constitution, etc., and I didn't do it. Right. So he was taking that in a kind of a thing, and in fact, same thing. PSA. He wanted people to be detained under PSA. I said no, I won't put that under PSA. So there was a few things like that. So this discussion was going on, and he was telling, in fact, he was giving me more charges. He, as a bureaucrat, I think he liked me. That's what I believe. So he was giving me more. I was being made CMD of 2 smart cities, urban development secretary, and etc. on that day. And he was telling, if you were there, you would say all this thing, that constitution, right,
all these issues.
Why you shouldn't do it?
With the curtailing of rights in Kashmir.
So he's telling you would create all this, but that is not the role of the executive. Role of the executive is to implement political will. That's it, period. Right, that's all. So that was a discussion that I had. I coming back and I remember having discussion with my wife, and she was asking me like, you can jail anybody, right? Can you jail anybody you want, right?
This was after the Kashmir thing happened.
August 5th, right? Same day.
So she was also shocked.
Yeah,
just the discretionary power that bureaucracy has.
Yes. So you can do anything, right? Or what? So I was like, see, governments generally have a tendency to, extend as much as power possible, right? So if governments you like to arrest everybody and put in jail, so that it's a lot more comfortable life.
Efficient.
Very efficient.
There are no people only.
So it's much easier that way. But that's not the state. No, state is not just the government. So there is your media, there is your opposition, political opposition, civil society, judiciary. So I was telling, no, all these people would not agree to this. This is not acceptable in India in 2010s, like in the 19, like we are this time. It's not the 1970s and the 60s. This will not happen. But after every day went, one was there, I think the PCA, that Press Council of India chairman went to the Supreme Court and said that we are absolutely okay with all the restrictions put on the media. So media council chairman is telling that we are okay with the restrictions put by the government. Then I think the Supreme Court is asking, somebody wanted to go to Kashmir and saying, why do you want to go? Like, it's his right to go there, but asking, it is very cold, why do you want to go there? Don't go.
It's a fundamental right in India to be able to go
Supreme Court is taking the executive stance and asking this question, that why do you want to go? I need to give a reason to travel, right? Then none of the habeas corpus petitions are being taken up. Then, in fact, Shah Faisal's thing was also happening.
Who was also an IAS officer.
IAS officer. And so all these things are
Could you explain? Shah Faisal was detained under preventive detention.
Yeah, he was, I think, traveling from Delhi to somewhere, and he was detained in Delhi and then taken back to Kashmir. So I was writing in my IAS groups and all, sir, how is it possible that, either he is a trouble in Kashmir, then you would want to keep him away from Kashmir. Why do you want to detain him and then take him back to Kashmir? That didn't make any sense to me. But everybody was like, shh, let's not talk anything about this. Nobody should talk anything. Even all these things, I felt I can't wait till my retirement to, just keep quiet until 60, and then you say that, okay, all this was bad and this shouldn't have happened and that shouldn't have happened. It's very important. If I feel now I should speak out, and this is wrong.
This is an Indian thing where as soon as bureaucrats and judges retire, suddenly they become very moral.
Yeah, they were always moral, I think,
right.
But
they made some compromises.
That's a thing.
For their career.
I keep this telling that we don't decide between rights and wrongs, right? We decide between what is easy and what is difficult. So if to do right is easy, we do right. If to do wrong is easy, we do wrong. Right? Look at our
we choose the path of least resistance in life,
right? That's generally how we a lot
and
of.
It's a very human thing without judging, right?
Right. So then it requires a lot of heroism to do the right thing when it is difficult. So to expect everybody, it's not that they're not moral, but whether you need that, it takes a lot of toll. It's not that easy. It takes a lot of toll on somebody. We have had in the last 5 years 2 election commissioners resigning and nobody knowing the reason why they did so, right? It takes a toll, right? So what is it? We don't even know, right? So that kind of a thing.
So a person who's that powerful, even he can't speak.
He can't resist, right? Yeah. He can't resist, want to do what apex body of the to conduct the elections, and before the election somebody is resigning.
And a senior IAS officer,
with all that,
with
all the
all
powers,
the trappings.
No, right? So when that is, then it becomes difficult. When governments make it that difficult for people to do right, right? Then people generally will choose the easy path out, right? It is to just and also we have kind of what you do, we transfer the guilt, right? So somebody was telling me this story, right? We don't want to be the person doing the wrong thing. If somebody else can do it on behalf of us, or even when we are doing, if we can assign that we are not doing it, we are just doing whatever we have been asked to.
Ordered.
Right? So somehow we then obfuscate that the whole.
So you didn't want to be in that situation.
For me, it was clear at that point that I should speak out. I felt very frustrated, and I felt that I should speak out. And even if they were actually very good well-wisher seniors, etc., who said people are going to listen to you for half an hour, and then you will also be forgotten. Issue will also be forgotten. So, but for me, it was like it's okay. It's good to even speak it for 30 minutes.
But were you also scared that this is a job for life, etc., etc.?
No,
I'm sure that's what you were thinking.
So like after I remember, because we didn't have a house or any of that. Like generally when you're in a service, you don't think like house. I have 30 or something, some 30 something.
You think government is going to give you houses?
No, you have like another 30 years in service. Right. Permanent job, you have so much. I will make someday something. Suddenly I resigned and we didn't have a place to go.
Right.
You're looking for a rented house and where to go, and that's something like completely. And in fact, even in that short period, right? I remember if my wife was driving a car and sitting on the other side, after resignation, I would open the door. I'll just walk away because I'm used to the PSO opening the door and closing it for me, right?
Right.
A short period of service, but you get addicted to it so much. So I'll just open it and I'll walk. And then my wife will, oi, darwaza kaun band karega? Right, come back and close the door. Right. Because you get so much used to these small things, which the system kind of takes care for you, right? So, and you get addicted to it. One of the biggest thing that you get addicted to is the pat on the back. Like when you're superior or when you do a small wrong thing for them, and they say good job, you get addicted. That good job is a big thing. Suddenly you feel like, okay, I'm being closer to the power, right? The more good job pats you get, even when the more. So this kind of small addictions are there, which I think somewhere changes the incentives in the game. So for me also, I used to get out and see the same policeman. I was detained multiple times, in multiple places. People otherwise used to salute the police guy who won't even like give a courtesy. But system has still given me respect. I'm not saying it has not. But you feel, but still, अरे मैं service में होता ना तो अभी मतलब, and I was there only, right? So who like that individual thing comes from inside.
You went from the other side of the desk.
This to this to this, this to this to this, right? So lot of so multiple times. Like I remember in UP Agra I was detained, and
this is when during the anti-CA.
Yeah. So they were tailing me, and then they were coming, and I've told this story multiple times, but only one part of it I'll tell, where I was detained, and I was going somewhere for a speech, and they said, no, you can't go. You will be detained at the border only. And the SDPO, the DYSP, is very nice chap. He detained me and he said, he offered his seat only for me. Sir, yahan baithiye. So I was like if you can't give me the rights of a citizen, don't give me the respect of a IAS officer. I was like full Josh dialogues and all. But still that respect, service, that somewhere people are generally there. But otherwise, you get used to so many things in this, and you are afraid to lose all of that. And also over a period of time, you don't know whether you are useful elsewhere. That is also the thing. Right.
Just the impact you could have made there.
Not only that, whether you are confident to survive outside. See, generally when you climb a mountain, like consider this UPSC as a mountain. You climbed a mountain. Now, there are no bridges between peaks to peak. For you to climb another peak, you have to get down. And that's a very scary thing, that you are already at a peak, right? You just need to hold your life, you just need to stay there somehow. Just be there and put it and stay there. You don't need to get down. You don't have to. So it's a very scary prospect to then come down from there.
You learn another skill, another job.
And then to go again.
Then go back up.
Right? It's a very thing. So people try, if there is a bridge, so many people, do this bridge if it is possible to do that. So they go as a, resign and go private firm directly and in a big
consultant or something
like that. So that's more of a bridge. So when there is a bridge, a lot of people do it. But when it is actually to leave and then start, that's a very scary prospect. And a lot of people would judge you when you're going down, right? Because you're going, like, tum kahan the? That's where I said, when I resigned, a lot of people are like, kya pagalpan hai? Like, what stupidity is this? He was there, he was having a lot of respect, he was doing good job, and generally did in Mizoram or Silvassa or any of these places. We didn't discuss a lot of that, but there's enough that you can do as an officer, enough, right? Just being humble itself is enough in a lot of cases, right? Of course, you can do systemic reforms, you can do transparency, you can do, there is a discom, it was loss making, we changed it to profit making. There was nothing at all in badminton in Mizoram. Just out of a tweet, we established Kannan Gopinathan's badminton academy, and in fact last year the national under-17 champion is from that academy. So
do you miss that life now?
At times I miss where I see that some intervention could have helped. I feel in my mind still works like that. I see something and feel like there is a, I see that there is a place like kind of a marketplace where a lot of ladies and children are there selling stuff, and then the child or the lady has to use a washroom. There is no washroom, right? So they go somewhere or the child urinates there only. It is not that because they have to sit there for the whole day. Immediately my mind is going like you could have done at least a pota, this thing.
But is this the end? Like for example, will you look at say a political career which would also give you some of those opportunities?
Like earlier I was like very, I would say against it, but over a period of time I'm more open to it.
How did you change?
Change in the sense, I was, in my mind it was important that there are these movements, like the challenge to the overwhelming strength of the Indian state has to be popular movements. I felt that, and that is the only way to get the citizen back into a little more of a center stage. But at the same time, what also realize is that all this needs to consolidate into a little more sustainable thing. So movements are not sustainable beyond, it has a shelf life, and beyond that it's not sustainable for people. So and the way to do organized thing is actually politics, right? And how do you do, how much you can do, what is your own opinion, like those are still up, like discussing only. But yeah, in fact there are multiple offers when I resigned also in between the last 2-3 years for contesting from this party, that party, etc. At that point of time I had said always no. But yeah, I think somewhere if needs to, I need to contribute, and also some this public interaction and the needs to come in. I find a lot of happiness in that, in my public interaction. When you are able to, when you are the reason for somebody else's smile, so then you get a lot of kick. People get kick from different things. So for a selfish reason also, I think something along those lines I need to explore. So, yeah.
On that note, Kannan, this was a fascinating podcast. A look into how the IAS functions in India. If you like the work that Scroll does, please go to Scroll.in/contribute so that we continue to do the journalism that India deserves. Thank you for watching Scroll Adda. I'm Shoaib Daniel.